Hello and welcome to the Board Game Geek Show from FIJ, which is Festival International des Jeux in Cannes. I got my co-hosts Beth Heile and Eric Martin, Eric Martin. And
his third time here, his second time here,
and
my first time here.
And it's the wrap-up. We are now the final day. We're all kind of beat, and it's an amazing show. Beth, your impressions, first time.
I really like this show. I mean, not just because our whole crew is basically we three, so it's a much smaller booth for us. But this show feels very intimate in the way that they've staged it. This is the building where the Cannes Film Festival is, which I didn't realize at first. And it's a very interesting building to be in because there's the whole dome. There's this dome that sort of appears out of nowhere. There's whole upstairs. Apparently, there's like another thing across the way that I haven't even been to yet.
Yeah, it's, there's like I think they have tournaments and stuff other, and maybe I never found the kids pavilion, so I have no idea.
Yeah.
I went and looked around and just had no idea.
And then you step outside, and there's the beach.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's the only show I can think of that's got that.
Yeah, no kidding. I think Chicago's is at the beach though, isn't it, on the lake?
It's what, Chai Tag?
Yeah.
It's on Navy Pier. So
but it's November.
Yeah.
But it's November.
It might be beautiful out there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's February here, right? I know Chicago is definitely colder. But this has been an amazing show this year. More stuff. We still had a light schedule from the get-go, maybe 50%, and Eric had to run around every day to add publishers. Yes. But I had people I would see. Actually, I never saw that one guy that came by yesterday. That didn't come by. I actually ran into him at his booth, and he came up to talk to me. But lots of really great stuff that we do not see. It's amazing how many games we've never seen at all. The Napoleon game today, which looked really kind of interesting.
Yeah,
so,
really interesting.
I think Scott already backed it, so he was like on it and backing it. I didn't realize the Kickstarter was going, and that's one of the pressures is that a lot of people want our videos from this show for their crowdfunding
Kickstarter
campaign.
that starts on February 27th. And you're just like, it'll be live now, but I don't know when the published one's going to go live.
We'll try to get through these because we have to finish these very soon because we have another avalanche of videos coming from Gamma. So, and then we'll have a little bit of a break. We'll have a break till Origins. So, it'll be, the new channel actually is getting subscribers to our Board Game Geek Express channel. And Eric is basically putting out 10 videos a day. Which was, we had 10 days of videos. I don't think they're all out yet.
They are not.
They will be all out by March 10th because I scheduled every single one of them for March 10th. So if Eric doesn't get it together, the rest of them are all going to come rushing out.
I will mention, in some cases it is waiting for images because we don't have an image for a game, so we could use a screenshot, but
well, you'll have to change the dates. It's all on your shoulders now.
No, or we just push it out, and it's just going to be the designer who was interviewed or the publisher representative, and they're going to be like, holding up the box, and we'll
you
be
almost always send me a screenshot being like, "This is the picture that YouTube picked," and it's one of us hosting being like,
"Yeah." Well, those are funny.
That will encourage them to send images in the future.
Right.
Or you look like this.
Did you guys have any favorites? Of the stuff you saw?
I mean, yeah, it's hard. Like, we played almost nothing. We played.
I played some prototypes last night, which was fun, but prototypes are not my thing, I will tell you.
Right.
It's just I don't want to judge a game prior to its release. I want it to be fully formed, and because I've had a couple of bad experiences, and it soured me on the final result, and that was a disappointment.
Right.
Because I mean, in those cases, I felt that the game was better before it was fully developed, and so that's a bummer.
Yeah.
And
well,
I might have enjoyed the game.
Possibly.
I might have enjoyed the game if I did not play the
original.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So the funny thing is, we filmed a lot of prototypes here. We do that here. We do that at Origins, partly just because if we didn't, we would not.
But additionally, the French are super open about it.
Yes, and I asked the publisher, Dominique Granger from La Haute Roche, said typically it's just yes, we do this all the time. We're very open. We will play test things for a year in public before things come out, and we're just like,
it's weird. Yeah, so I don't think the French market has a problem with it, right? But I think in the United States, it kind of lessens the impact, right? too far out where there's discussion, just a little bit, so the buzz doesn't quite build up.
Right.
I actually had a discussion with the publisher as well about that very specific topic. I said, it seems that the French, he was asking, about the struggles of trying to make an impression with your games in the United States. And I go, well, there's, basically Kickstarter. You've got like the Kickstarter, the BGG contest, the designer diary, and I guess those are 3 things, all synchronized, to be able to maybe raise the awareness as a crowdfunding thing happens. But that's kind of like the way to market your game anymore is Kickstarter in the United States. And obviously that doesn't reach everyone.
Yeah.
I don't really know what the answer is, but I go, one of the things is that you guys are way open with prototypes. And so I don't know how successful that always is. How Armada, Seven Wonders Armada was at people. There is a Mario cosplay guy now. The other guy, I do not think was really a Mario cosplay. This guy really is.
If only we had a photo to insert here.
It's a me. But I don't know. I mean, it's a weird puzzle to solve, and the market is changing so drastically in the United States, where there's a lot of publishers having a hard time getting the word out about new stuff, right? And so, as we had mentioned in a previous BGG show, the Steve Jackson Games is kind of pulling back on doing that kind of stuff and only relying on their established brands.
Right.
I don't know. It's a weird situation, but it's exciting to see the openness here. You know what I mean? As a fan of the games and stuff, it's awesome to see. It's just, I don't know if it's the best solution in North America anyway. Because, you look at the sales of some of these publishers, and, the U.S. is 7%, and then, a tremendous amount of French, right? The market is big here. It's you see this, it's a very family-oriented, lots of different kinds of people here, amazing mix of people. It's really, really impressive.
Yeah. I mean, it's too, also the size of the booths for the event here. Of course, it varies a lot depending on the publisher here versus in the U.S. I mean, you talked, this is earlier, we talked about Le Scorpion Mask. Here, it's a fairly decent-sized booth.
Yeah.
They're not even a French company. It's a French-Canadian company.
Yeah.
Right.
But here they've got a huge booth, and then in the U.S. it's sort of like we get a little spot at yellow.
Yep.
A little corner. So, yeah, different show presence.
But to answer your question, like, did I have a particular standout? At least, of course, the problem with answering that question is, like, as soon as the day ends, my memory of it evaporates completely. I know, like that's why we totally need the schedule for.
Well, there was a lot of it.
The one that charmed me, I think, was Save the Meeples from Blue Cocker Games.
Okay.
It's supposed to thematically be a sequel to Meeple Wars, but you are playing the Meeples and fighting against humans. And you're trying to bring the Meeples into Meeple Town or whatever it's called via train. No. Humans, that's or rocket them off to space in a rocket ship. Okay. And I was thinking, okay, so they probably brought me the blinged out version that had beautiful, 3D printed trains
and the rocket.
Whole rocket with, like slices of cardboard pieces. And I was like, okay, so which one of this is base game and, which one of these are, they're like, base. Everything in there was part of the base game.
Already blamed.
Including some cameos of humans. Like Sir
yeah,
Alan
designers.
from the Cocker game was one of the humans. So
Teo Rivera, that was the one I spotted.
Yeah.
It was obvious though, man. His clothing
I have
was
no
clearly
idea
Teo
what
Rivera.
it will be like for gameplay, but that was one in the interview I was certainly like, I'm charmed.
Well, the one I want to get that I don't know if it'll ever come to the United States in the form that it is here is the Minstrels or whatever, the Bruno Ferduti with all the pop icons
I think
in
you'd
there.
have a really hard time with all the.
I mean, it is parody, but I don't know how. I mean, it looked
How
exactly like
close can
Elvis.
it get?
It looked exactly like Elvis. It looked exactly like Prince. So now it comes out in 1 month's time. So my goal is to get a copy of that before they do the U.S. version, which will be completely different.
Yes,
because the art is fantastic.
Kind of like that same game. I don't know who is producing there for La Petite Morte. where they had parody characters with The Simpsons and Darth
was
Vader and other stuff, and it's the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Where you're just like, that is not flying.
In the
There
United
was
States.
some like Hollywood game that we looked at.
Oh yeah,
in Germany.
in Germany we all bought it because I mean
we
I
all
bought
bought
it.
it,
Yeah,
we're like,
'cause,
we'll never
it'll
get this
never get
again.
it like
Yeah.
The
this.
Hollywood Blockbuster, the Trump Fabrique
Yeah.
version from the Spanish publisher.
No.
Oh,
That one too. That one too. I mean, because that
Yes.
has Audrey Hepburn on the cover.
Yeah.
Right.
But no, there was another small one from the guys
It
that.
was the Greek publishers.
Yes.
From Draw Lab Entertainment.
Exactly.
Yes.
I remember looking
I
at
got that
one.
right. I got a copy of that one.
I did
and
too. I'm like, I
I'm a
gotta
little
go get it
reluctant
because
to
it
get
won't
one.
come out in the United States.
Right, yeah. And I just like looking through the cards because they have card mock-ups of Friends and Simpsons and
That's right.
X-Files and Star Trek and just, if it's an iconic show, it has a card.
So it's interesting that sort of different legal rights for that. I mean, maybe they just don't care, or it's much harder to
Well,
sue
I know,
someone.
like Germany has different rules about that, right? Different laws where that
Right.
maybe it's. I don't understand because it was all. I mean, the original Trump Fabrique was filled with
Yeah. With
true
actual
stars.
actors.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think the very first one was the Hollywood Blockbuster, whatever, from Uberplay, where it had
the
parodies,
Yeah.
not great parodies. But I don't know. It's
When it's more like a caricature like that, I think the legal line probably gets pretty fuzzy.
well, that one didn't even have the name. The names are not like parody names
right.
too.
Well, I was gonna
So
say, if you don't mention the name, so minstrels, because they're all dressed up in costume. I mean, the closest you're gonna get is the Prince character.
And the
looks
king.
like Prince, the musician. The Baron was Bruno himself, Bruno Fedudi. So that was pretty cute. He's like, this one's my favorite, which was cute.
So you have the contrast between, I guess, the rights of publishers to do this versus the privacy rights for individuals, where we can't film. We're not supposed to film inside Spiel and show the crowd on there, and do not have general cameras. So more individual privacy rights, but I guess more
so
freedom with the.
Those of you, previously we had done like what we would call the running of the bulls. That we'd station a camera pointing towards the front door, and then the crowd would just come, or we try and get a camera up and above, or we do a walk around, and we really can't do those videos anymore. It just gets a little sticky.
Oh, I know. Well, that we still want to kind of maybe walk through here today with the 360 cam. I don't know. May send Beth out with that one. She can charm everybody.
I can be the one to get in trouble. Here you go, newbie.
Well, when I did it at Nuremberg, there were definitely people looking at me. And I just moved quickly. So we'll figure out how we can use that footage. Scott and I were looking at it before we left, but
You don't want to get a reputation in Europe.
Yeah.
There's a perv on BGG going around with the 360 all the time.
I wasn't.
What the
There was
heck?
only one risque moment, and that was when Anna came and kissed us. And you're like, I don't know who you are.
It's true. Not gonna lie.
And that wasn't risque. That was very French.
Yes.
But
How about you? Was there something either producing or while you were walking around?
I don't know. This shows. I mean, I've been back 3 times at least to look at the Strike 3D. So last year it was wooden. I talked to Jean-Baptiste about it. And last year it was wooden, and he said it was the wood just disintegrates, like the banging of it and everything. So they've now 3D printed the entire thing. Right. So the arena's all filament, and the dice are all 3D printed, and they're fantastic. And it was amazing to watch, like the action on that game. So the arena itself is more like Impact, so it's deeper. So it's more like the Impact arena. But man, the action was fantastic, and I'm already like, I already talked to Jean-Baptiste because I'm like trying to get us one for BGG Con Dexterity Row.
Wouldn't that be great? And they'll let
I
Dexterity
know,
live
and
in the
so-
lobby there. Oh.
So maybe we'll get that to happen. I don't know. It's because they contracted a designer, a game designer, who did it. So he's going to put me in touch with them, and we'll see about getting the files and stuff like that.
I was talking with someone from Ravensburger about that, and they said, yes, we have the same model maker who's doing that. She also pointed out the table they have to demo Las Vegas. I don't know if you saw that
I didn't
as well.
see
Yes,
that.
I saw that.
So it's raised up pretty high with ledges on the side so people can lean on it. It's a big wooden piece. So you're like, man, that's a lot of effort.
I know, a lot of effort.
To demo
so
that
they also
game,
had the large medieval Pong. They had a large version of that too, with larger castle turrets or whatever, and a bit. I don't know if it was a bigger ping pong ball. Was it? It had to have been, right?
Yeah, because they were still like
but they only had like
balls.
Yeah, but it's. I mean, this is a big fair. I mean, I know that there's a company that does a lot of large-scale games, and for consumers. But then you've got like the Plouf Party or whatever it was, whatever it's called, the Avendenpool. Two different sizes of that one, and what else? You showed us a bunch of pictures of the stuff that was large.
I took a lot of them. There was a Story Cubes display where the cubes
the
are like
big
a
ones.
foot tall.
Yeah.
Not for rolling though.
There were kids rolling them
Were
upstairs.
they?
Yeah, taking a turn on them. There's a giant Jamaica where the cards are about yay big, trying to do stuff. There's a lot of giant editions here.
And of games I wouldn't have thought would make it to a giant edition. Like I showed the picture earlier. I was so delighted by Rumble in the House.
Right. Yes. It's more
right
like
back.
a crowd event. It's not just you're not demoing the game. You're displaying the game, and everyone else can sort of participate on the side while they're doing things. I mean, that's what it seemed to be. Jamaica was not being played when I saw it this year, but last year it was, and it was like 20 people around watching the game. Because it's all clear what you're doing with the actions. I played this giant card, and then move my chips along. So we lost the blanket. Something going on here.
He's talking.
That's right. It's the schmoozing. Sometimes. What else? I'm trying to think what I like. I really like. I have to actually try Moon Sun. I love the description of it. Right? It's this very simple game where the card.
One card game.
It's one card, and you have a deck with that one card.
Yeah, and I don't want people to misunderstand that the game is a single card, but that it's a deck of cards. They're all identical.
Yeah, and so you get special powers based on how you have cards in front of you, and it just seemed really interesting, but also like you need to actually play it and see how it works.
What was the game that came out at Spiel last time round? It was like the Lady and the Tiger, where everything was two-toned. It was blue and red with little gold accents, and like that was the last sort of minimalist. But of course, when you compare Moon Sun to that looks like the most complicated thing ever.
Maybe so. I really like Twisty. My son did not see Twisty when we were doing that, but he's really into chess.
That was clever.
He's really into chess. It's got the knight movement. And I thought,
you cheated on your first move, by the way.
Maybe we should try that. I didn't make a knight move?
No, you were 2 over and 2 up.
No, because I landed on one that lets you move with an additional
all
space.
right. I might have not been paying attention. I didn't want to call you out and be like, you did it!
We did not get the Rocking Decks game.
Not get the Rocking Decks game.
What's that one?
That was the one where it has a labyrinth with a metal ball in it that you're trying to reach a certain space, and you're pushing and pulling syringes,
the syringes
to shoot water through the system that's going to adjust the height of the board.
So they didn't show up?
They didn't come down and play. Well, when I spoke with the woman initially, I set up the time. I gave her my card with the booth number on the back and the time, and her English was extremely minimal, but she seemed to she agreed to a time. She gave me the name of the person who would, Nicola will come do this, blah, blah. But
nothing happened.
No. Okay. It happens.
Yeah, we had a pretty busy schedule though. Ultimately.
Yes.
Well, and for me, this show is dominated by a lot of just interesting interviews, not demos.
Oh no, we had a couple artists, which was fantastic.
Yeah, we so rarely get to talk to artists.
Absolutely.
And
I'm thinking about and as you're saying, they end up working. They're working this. They're contracted and drawn on people's boxes. Anyway, we'll pause here for a second. Hey, that was brief. Yeah, we were cranky about the announcements last year, and then we found out most of them were about missing children, so missing parents from the children or whatever. Like, oh, okay, we'll let you do that. But it was particularly, I think, by Sunday, it was really bad.
they've been pretty nonstop.
Although it could have been,
today.
I don't know.
Right.
Sunday was.
Someone still hasn't found this child.
Yeah.
Please.
Please come get him.
Please look.
But yeah, there's a lot of kids here. And amazingly enough, so, for me, semi-personality, people coming up to me again today, 2 more people, were how much they love the show, and it's just impressive that, and their English is okay, but that they're watching a show that's with a bunch of rapid speaking You know, I mean, how do you keep up with that stuff? So they were very excited and they really loved the show, which was awesome. And it makes me feel bad that I don't watch enough foreign language stuff. I told Beth I do watch foreign language stuff because Google does a pretty good job of translating stuff just automatically.
Right.
And you could pretty much get the gist of stuff.
Yeah, you played enough games.
Well, yeah,
like
but
you
yeah.
watch things. And
But when
The visual,
exactly, but
yeah.
when the speaking, right? You know, it's like because I studied French, but I retain nothing, and so when I'm trying to track what people are saying, I you know, little segments. It was never. I think I needed to speak with, you know, like we had a French club, but I needed to speak with actual French speakers that were really fast.
Right.
Because dang, they seem to speak really quick, you know.
I would say that's something pretty different about this show compared to Spiel is, you know, you can start talking in English, and 95% of the people who are there, at least those who are working, are going to be fluent in English.
The other thing was
For being in Germany,
they
like,
came up
everyone's
to
talking
me
English.
over and over asking to find things. I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't speak French. Like, what about me is it that you think that I'm going to have that answer? And maybe it just looks like I will try to answer, because I will try to answer. We had a fellow come up while Beth and I were sitting over here producing.
All in French, and both
then
of
I'm
us
like,
are
we don't speak no parle français, and he's like, oh, and he asked us where the video games were, but I'm not even certain that this is what they're talking about. I don't know if there's more video games else, you know, I don't know. This whole, I did walk around yesterday. I got out and I went upstairs, and I'm like, I have no idea where this children's thing is. I'm just gonna go back. And then I went and looked at Strike again.
Again.
So, yeah, it looks great though. I'm so smitten with that thing. I cannot speak highly enough about it. It's so great. But it's really amazing. And there is a lot of booths down here because we feel like we're in the garage of this building, like what used to be the garage. It does seem a lot like
underground
that.
and-
Yeah, we are underground. Yeah, I keep forgetting that.
It feels like it, but I mean, that was what Arnaud's response was. He goes, I think we're in a garage. I'm like, we were just talking about that. But it really is a great space. As Beth says, it's kind of intimate. There are low ceilings here with these egg crate things, and so it is noisy, but it's not as dense, you know, like
It's not an echo
a
chamber.
roar, exactly.
Yeah.
At the other conventions, it's essentially a roar.
That's right.
We invariably are.
The roar we cannot stop.
Yeah.
We try.
Yeah.
We really try.
We've tried so many technologies. These new mics are pretty good, but they still, you know, the only way to make it work so that people would be happy is if we all held a microphone to our mouths the entire time, because you just cannot beat the crowd. The crowd is so noisy at conventions.
For here, our immediate neighbors, we did have a couple adventures because there this morning, if you heard, there was some kid there's
crying.
retro video games, like, you know, classic Nintendo, early Sega, like things like that, right on the other side of the wall. Some kid was just like, like obviously very distraught that the game did not go the way they were expecting,
don't know
or
what
mom
was
and
going
dad
on over there.
were saying you have to leave, and that was kind of
They were
exciting.
definitely upset. But that was actually the first time we'd had anything like that. For the most part, other than the archery thing over here, for whatever reason, that is really loud. We were worried about the Munsters pinball machine, which is amazing, and that was minor league. We couldn't even. You can hear a little bit of it. Yeah, you can hear a little bit of it. But what we heard the first day was the bumpers. You didn't hear you heard like the little noise of the Munsters music, but the bumpers were really loud, and you know and now you can't really hear it at all. It's
Blends in.
I was speaking to one of the people and I said, well, it's really loud, but I don't think they can move it. And she's like, you won't hear it. And she was absolutely right. You won't hear it tomorrow. But it's definitely an interesting space, and it doesn't open up except horizontally, because it's all habit trails and walls, and so there's it's similar construction to what they do at Essen with these hard panels, and they've got offices in each of these spaces, but they're mostly narrow. There is none of them that take 2 rows.
Like
They
Right.
always have,
Yeah.
they're always split up by the aisles.
And that's
So
the other thing I really
it helps
think-
it a little bit easy. It
Well,
makes
and-
navigation.
But also keeps that very intimate feel, because even a large booth always has these paths.
They
that are
had
so
an
clearly
announcement
defined.
for Most Beautiful Booth earlier, right?
They
Wasn't that
did,
what Sony
somewhere.
said? I want to
Yeah,
know
you
what
can
that.
vote on Facebook.
I know. I want to go see what the heck that was. Like
That was the
I
one
don't
bit
know
in French. I was like,
where are we at in the running?
Facebook.
Where are we at in
Okay.
the running on that? Do you have any idea, Beth? Our booth is such a beauty.
Yeah. So one thing I realized we forgot with Beth, and I don't know if it came up in your mind at all, we didn't go to the off.
I know. That's what I said. I kept saying. But remember, so Nikki and I went back to the hotel the other night, and we were going to rest before going to meet people to play games, and I just was asleep. And then last night we had plans, and because I'd done that, I'm like, I got to go out with him. But that was the deal. I'm like, Beth kind of needs to see the off, you know? It's a pretty interesting event. They moved it to another location, and Matt Dunstan was saying that he felt it seemed the same to him, but people were saying that it was larger. So the other thing is that we've understood is that maybe they changed location just for security reasons, because the original location, or the location that was last year, not original, is part of this main building, and I think they moved it to one of the off buildings where there's a off buildings. Where there's the driveway for all the trucks and stuff, so it's on the other side of that. Where I think they have some of the bridge tournaments and things like that, because that's one of the big things here that people come for.
Yeah, and we didn't show you.
See any of that.
You haven't even mentioned it until this second, so.
So I was totally out of here. So the off is a place where designers can show prototypes. You reserve tables
in advance.
It runs from 10 p.m. till 4 in the morning.
Oh.
Yeah, that's why we didn't take
10
it.
p.m. You're in bed. Pretty often.
God, yeah.
Maybe that's why I didn't think about it before with you. But it runs Wednesday to Saturday, so it's actually
Plus, we
4
went
days.
to the Asda Or. Eric and I both went,
Yeah.
and that sucker ran late. It was a good event, and it's way more entertaining than the SDJ one. But SDJ one is German efficiency to the T.
It's half hour.
Yeah.
Done.
This one was 2.5 hours or something like that. It was
Oh,
very
I
long.
think you guys
but
were pushing
Nadine she's retiring, and she's been doing this for 30 years. Started very small. I would love to see photos of that first event. And then they had a send-off for her and lots of messages from everyone. Bruno Catala was in the stocking, looked like a burglar. That was pretty awesome. But
they gifted her with a
big pile of games,
giant
and they
pile
gave her
of
one of the like an Asda or award, you know.
Right.
So it was I brought a tear to my eye, because it was definitely hard. You could see how heartfelt it was. She's definitely done a lot, but the ladies that are taking over are amazing, and they've been working in the position for a long time. So. And I say ladies because I think it is more than one. Nadine obviously couldn't be replaced by one person, so. But we met Cynthia, and she's great. But this is a really well organized event.
Yes.
It's tiny. It's a small group, just like the Mertz is.
Right.
And it's impressive. Like they are really taking care of us and making sure that we're happy. They've been by several times, and it's just amazing. And they're really welcoming here, which is fantastic. Because it's
just the fact that they stop by. Just
I know. I mean, Dominique usually does it if she can. That one time she came with her broken foot or whatever, you know.
Right.
But it's great. I'm really happy that they want us to be here, and it is a new. You know, you don't hear about these games. It's insane how many games. I mean, Medieval Pong, for example, right? Not going to be probably likely released in any time soon in the United States. It'd be awesome if they do. And you just can't believe that they have a ton of games like this that you would never hear of unless you're really paying attention to this market, which it's hard. You know, we don't speak the language easily, so. You done?
I feel like I'm done.
It's been
fun. Thing I really liked, it was a little awkward, but I loved meeting designer Claude Leroy.
Yeah,
because
that was needed too.
I love abstract strategy games, and he came on and presented his games. Took a lot of effort in there. I mean, I would require a lot of effort if I was trying to present games in French.
Oh yeah,
to try to get
way more than
across.
these. Yeah, man, I would need somebody else to take my place.
He was really determined to do it, and got the point across. I mean, it took you a moment every once in a while, but I think I really liked that conversation you guys had. We filmed about 10 minutes of him just talking about design and how that influenced how these are all in these little cardboard sleeves, but they're really quite, even just, I know it's weird to say they're cardboard boxes, but they're much more like plain cardboard.
Yeah.
But when you stack them all up next to each other, they're actually really impressive looking.
But it's,
Yeah, we have too many games though. We're bringing home too many games. How did that? Yeah.
I know. I'm looking at the
I need
pile
to talk
over
to you
there.
about
Yeah, that's gonna go into the BGG library. I was like, I can fit that in my suitcase.
Maybe not.
No. Since they're all punched, you nest them. Yeah. That's going to be a larger part of tonight than I was maybe originally planning. But that's what YouTube is for. So no background tunes.
Well, we have enough. I mean, I blew it with Nuremberg where I brought home a bunch of cardboard. We're going to pause for a minute. At Nuremberg, I don't like to. I generally, because I have gear, I'm always lugging gear around. I'm basically maxed out for weight, not for volume. So my bags are almost empty. So if I could fit them in with weight, it would be no problem. But the problem is I thought, I'll take card games at Nuremberg. That's easy, and they weigh a ton.
That's the worst thing.
And
they're really efficient.
They are dense.
So they're dense.
And so Eric was witnessing me shifting stuff around inside the airport to try to get through if they wanted to weigh my bag.
Cardboard, 10 little card games shoved inside his carry-on.
And they were heavy, so I ended up putting them in my jacket. And if they weighed anything, I would have been throwing card games out. But this time I didn't take as much, but Nikki's nervous because she thinks they're going to send her home with a bunch of prototypes. We can check a third bag, which if we need to. It's not ideal, but we can do it. But it's an amazing event. I'm looking at this stack over here, Draftosaurus, which it's in English now, but that Maiko, which is beautiful looking, just stuff we haven't seen at all. It's really, really great. Plus, Bruno Ferduti always comes over here with some games that we never see in English.
Yeah.
Chai last year and
the Petit Pouce, or the Minstrel.
Yeah.
Minstrels. Which is funny because I went to Sweet Games to ask them whether they had the demo, and they sent people over to show Zombie Bus, but not that one. But I think that one's coming.
Well,
right?
that was the same deal with Charles Chevalier, the Macau. Akama came over here, showed all that stuff, and they had it, and then they didn't show it. And I ran into Charles yesterday, and I said, hey, they came, but they didn't show Macau. Do you think you can get to take the demo out to show it? And he's like, I'll try. And he was kind of looked like he'd been running around. So we started off the day at least 15 minutes delayed because he made it just before 10.
Right.
And so
we squeezed him
kindly everybody behind that was waiting. And we actually, Bruno Ferduti got up and we had the other guy waiting.
Yeah, I didn't realize.
And I'm like, I'm sorry. And he sat down like, well, Bruno's going, let's just let him go. It worked out fine though. We ended up, because I think Charles showed up literally just about 10 o'clock. So I was happy to have him because he's always got something interesting. So that's the second phase of those puzzle games that they're doing, that he's doing. Didn't he do them with Ludovic Maublanc? Did he do those with him? What was the one?
I think so.
Yeah.
The Cap Color ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's neat stuff, and that's another thing. Maybe he said that Asmodee owns the rights internationally, but they may not put them out in the United States. But they're pretty basic, like simple to produce type stuff. It'd be nice if they do that. I just don't know if storefronts can market that stuff well. I don't know.
Right.
But it's a really neat little system. So I'm looking forward to trying out the new one.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to wrap it up here. We've had a great time, and I want to send thanks out, even though this is going to come out later, to everyone who watched us. We had a lot of good feedback, mostly on the Twitch channel, and Scott's been running the reruns every night, so I had a friend write me and ask if we were still going. I'm like, no, we are not. That is a rerun. It is very long. This convention is 9 to 7 every day, including the final day, Sunday.
A full day, which is unusual.
A full day every day.
Which we're not doing.
And the first hour is the VIPs, right? So it's not as crazy, but it has been a great time here, and I want to thank everyone for watching, and join us again in 2 weeks for the next BGG show. Bye, everyone.
Later.